Welcome back. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Um, Today's video, we're going to be checking out the tragic downfall or what happened with the Ball brothers. For those of you that have been living under a rock the past 10 years, the um, the Ball brothers came on the scene and, you know, right around late 2000s, I believe. 2000, I want to say like 15, maybe something like that. So it was Lonzo Ball, LiAngelo Ball, and LaMelo Ball, the Ball family, father LeVar Ball, mother Tina Ball. And they were just say, they hit the scene in America and people fell in love with them, right? Just a basketball family, white mother, black father, had that unique dynamic. Father was I guess you could say, a semi-pro athlete. Same thing with the mother, and they had this dream and this idea of all three of them making it to play professional sports, right? And they did some really creative and innovative things along the way, and that's like a whole nother story if you want to check that out. But we're gonna review this video today. Shout out to the what's this guy's name? Hold on. The players discussion. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. We're gonna review, react, and check this video out. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's check it out.
It hasn't been the greatest year for the Ball brothers, with each of them going through their own personal struggles. Lonzo's going under the knife yet again. LaMelo's also sitting on the sidelines for the rest of the season. And LiAngelo, well, we all know how hard of a time he's been having. He still hasn't even made it yet. The glory days of the Ball brothers making headlines and stealing the spotlight seem like a distant past. So the big question is, have we already seen the peak of the Ball brothers? And is this the beginning of the end for the Ball dynasty?
And that's the crazy part because they're still so young. Like Lonzo's 25, I believe. LaMelo's, I believe, 21, 22, and LiAngelo, I think, is 23. If I'm not somewhere in that range, but relatively still young, early 20s. Um, so it's kind of crazy to be contemplating the end of somebody's career or multiple people's careers early on in your 20s. That's insane. So damn, that's messed up.
In this action-packed video, we'll explore the Ball brothers' incredible rise to stardom, each of their ongoing struggles, and now what has to happen for each of them to make it back to relevance. So buckle up and let's dive into the roller coaster ride of the infamous BBB kids. Let's hit the rewind button and take a quick trip down memory lane. Who are these Ball brothers, and how did they initially take the basketball world by storm? The Ball brothers' rise to fame was like a secret sauce recipe: talent, hard work, and a dash of virility. It all started back in their high school days, with video after video popping up line of them dominating, embarrassing, and straight shaming their competition. To further ignite their momentum, we can thank their proud, outspoken father, LeVar Ball, who helped turn his sons into basketball sensations by making outlandish claims left and right. I mean, this guy was calling his sons the best players in the world and supposedly better than current NBA superstars like LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Russell Westbrook.
See right there, that was when the father. See, that was grimy to me. Like honestly, um, if that was me and my dad was putting all that additional pressure on me, it's not like he's saying, "Oh, I'm better than the average person down the block," or maybe like collegiate McDonald's All Americans. He's comparing to like the top of the food chain at the NBA level, NBA superstars. So you could say it's motivation, but in my opinion, he was setting them up to, not only putting a lot of pressure on them, as if they didn't have enough pressure on themselves. But it's like a recipe for failure. to put them up against that so early on in their careers, I just felt like wasn't the right move.
The bar was surely set sky high for the Ball brothers, and everyone was eager to see how far they could actually go. And frankly, at one point, it looked as if they were indeed about to take their household name all the way to the moon. Lonzo, the eldest, with his incredible court vision and swagger, first led the way by joining the Lakers in 2017 with the second overall pick. After seeing his play in high school and at UCLA, there was definitely a lot of hype surrounding his name coming into the league. Lakers fans even hoped he would be one to take them back to the promised land. Then there's LiAngelo, the middle brother and supposedly the best shooter among the three. He was known to be the go-to walking bucket in high school, posting video game number stats on the daily. I mean, come on. At one point, this guy was one-upping himself on a nightly basis, scoring 56 points one night and 72 the next. He was at least successful in getting his foot in the door and getting to try out for multiple NBA teams. With his track record for scoring and his knack for knocking down the three, you would think he'd eventually make a team and ride the bench at the very least.
And that's interesting also too, because as I'm watching this unfold and we're seeing them play, to me, LiAngelo was by far like the most talented shooter out of the three Brawl brothers, right? You had Lonzo, who had this really, really unconventional shooting form, which you could have kind of guessed was gonna hold them back at the next level. And then you had LaMelo, who's the youngest one, who's his shot selection was just very, very poor, at least early on in his career. And you could still see some examples of it even while he's playing in the NBA. Like his shot selection is just not at the top level that it should be, I mean, and it also has to do with his confidence too, because he feels like he can make every shot. But in my opinion, LiAngelo was by far the purest shooter, the most consistent shooter, and I think that was one attribute that he had above the other two, his other two brothers.
Finally, we have LaMelo, the youngest yet most promising of the three. After dazzling everyone with his flashy style and jaw-dropping plays, he eventually swooped into the Hornets' nest in 2020 and snatched Rookie of the Year award in 2021. And heck, he even made the All-Star team in 2022. So from their high school days at Chino Hills to their individual professional careers in the NBA, the Ball brothers were a force to be reckoned with, and together, they formed a basketball trifecta. Their talent, personalities, and entertaining family dynamic captivated fans for years, and
it definitely did. And if you've never seen their TV show that was on Facebook, Ball in the Family, you should really check it out, because it takes you along that journey of when you see all of them. They start out in high school, and you see like just the development of all of them as players, right? Even LaMelo, like you see him grow up right in front of your eyes. And I just remember seeing like in the later seasons, I think it was like season 5 or season 6, he had always been the smaller brother or whatever, but he shot up from like, I think it was like 6 feet to 6'6" or 6'7", and it was just ridiculous. It was like in a year and a half, he just shot up like 8 or 9 inches. No diddy, pause. And that was just like crazy to see. Like, dude just had the growth spurt of the century out of nowhere.
They were even treated as celebrities both on and off the court. In short, they lit up the basketball world, and many thought they'd continue their stardom in the NBA for years to come. However, as quickly as they have rose, it seems as if their fall has been an even faster pace. Let's dive deeper into their current situation and lay out all the unfortunate series of events that led to their recent lows. Not everyone can have a perfect basketball love story. Our beloved Ball brothers are now facing some incredibly challenging hurdles that are keeping them each off the NBA court indefinitely. Lonzo hasn't played an actual NBA game since January 14, 2022. He's undergone 2 knee surgeries in the past 14 months and is now about to have a third one to obtain a cartilage transplant. And with talks of him potentially missing the entire 23-24 season, the path back to stardom seems bleak. Meanwhile, LaMelo, who's been a rising star with the Charlotte Hornets, has been sidelined for most of this season as well due to a series of unfortunate injuries. This guy's left ankle has been compromised since week 1 of the 2023 season, and despite managing to come back several times, he was never able to gain any momentum. And now, recently fracturing his right ankle, he's out for the rest of the season. As for LiAngelo, he's still pushing forward in the G League and overseas after getting cut multiple times by NBA teams in recent years. It seems like he himself was never able to gain any momentum since his tragic L of getting caught stealing in China way back in college. Still, it appears that he's refusing to give up his NBA dreams. You can't help but admire his determination at the very least. But with all these setbacks, you can't help but wonder how much they can continue to endure. With days turning to months, turning to years off the court and out of the league, it seems like the light at the end of the tunnel is getting dimmer and dimmer. I mean, there's no shortage of NBA players whose careers were also cut short due to a slew of unfortunate injuries. Derrick Rose, Yao Ming, Greg Oden, Andrew Bynum, Brandon Roy, just to name a few. And even if these players managed to come back, they were never truly the same. So, is the same fate in store for the Ball brothers? Will a new generation of young talent quickly come and overlap them, leaving them in the dust? For Lonzo and LaMelo, a lot of their fate may be dependent partly on the decisions of their respective teams, because they also have got to be feeling the heat. The Chicago Bulls.
And what's crazy about that is, so Lonzo's in a more difficult position than LaMelo, because Lonzo, he signed a 4-year deal, I think $80 million with Chicago. I think he's in his 3rd year, or he might be in his last year. I'm not sure. But LaMelo just signed like a blockbuster deal with Charlotte, like a $200 million 7-year deal, 7 or 8-year deal, something like that, with the Charlotte Hornets. So they're obviously, invested in him, severely. So he's got more of he's got more of the franchise support, at least, on the surface. But Lonzo's going to be looking like to re-up his contract really, really soon. And Chicago's really in a difficult position because they have the injury with Zach LaVine. They have now Lonzo's injury where he hasn't played for almost 2 seasons. And I'm not sure Chicago's going to be looking to re-sign him, whereas Charlotte is kind of in a tough spot because they've already committed so much money to LaMelo. So they might just have to, they really don't have no leverage in the situation. They might just have to just see how it plays out. Whereas Lonzo's going to have a more difficult road moving forward. So we'll see what Chicago ends up doing.
Had high hopes for deep playoff runs when initially signing Lonzo. They were hoping he could be their defensive ace, their floor spacer, and their on-court leader. He even improved his shooting mechanics and was starting to shoot the 3 at a more reliable rate. And when he was on the court, he was definitely making an impact. In fact, the Bulls have a 62.8 winning percentage with Lonzo on the court, compared to a sub-500 record without him. With Lonzo, the Bulls even briefly held the top seed in the Eastern Conference. As for the Charlotte Hornets, they're buzzing with concern too. LaMelo was definitely becoming their franchise cornerstone, and with his extensive absences, it is leaving a noticeable void in their offense. With him on the sidelines, they lose a player who averaged 15.7 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per game during his Rookie of the Year campaign. Now that these teams are without some of their biggest investments, the Bulls and Hornets surely have some big decisions to make. Do they continue to wait on them, grind it out, and hope for them to come back to their same level of play, if not better, and continue where they left off? Or do they decide it's not worth the uncertainty and decide that time is money, and time is now? And do they ultimately decide to change directions and move on from these potential liabilities? Let's take a look at an ideal situation for each of the Ball brothers. What exactly has to happen for them to retain their name in the spotlight? And if you're liking this video so far, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on for more videos just like this on the Players Discussion. Let's start with Lonzo. Let's say he does recover 100% from his 3rd knee surgery. He takes all of next year to go through a successful rehab, and in 2024, he comes back with a vengeance. I mean, despite his vulnerable body, he still possesses a unique skill set that can allow him to stand out from his competitors. He still has that court vision, defensive wizardry, that length, and that above average height for a guard. He just needs to maintain his conditioning, his athleticism, his will to win, his improved shooting mechanics. Okay, well, there's a lot. But Lonzo is still only 25 years old, and with the right mindset and support around him, maybe he comes back and reignites his career as well as the Ball household name once again, whether it's on the Bulls or another team. But how likely is this? Let's admit it. With his injury history and the Bulls losing patience by the day, it's safe to say that he'll be facing a steep uphill battle from here on out. He may have to ride the bench and prove himself once again to return to the Ball we once knew. For LaMelo, it's definitely not as bad, but he still needs to take this offseason to rehab appropriately and maintain his drive. Ankle injuries are no joke, and with his current track record, he needs to make sure he doesn't cut any corners. With his style of play, those ankles need to be resilient as hell when he comes back. If he does everything right, maybe this setback will be nothing but a small bump in the road.
And what's the crazy part about it, and like I think the most interesting part is they all have like they've all had these leg injuries. So Lonzo's had problems with his ankles, and then he's also obviously had those 3 major knee surgeries, right? But it's still all part of the leg. Um, and for those of you that don't play sports, you know, like if you're having ankle issues, and there is just a continuous effect that it has on the leg in general, right? So if you're overcompensating, then the leg starts to break down, the knee starts to break down. So that's what's happened to Alonzo. He started out having ankle problems, then he needed to have knee surgery. LaMelo's had ankle problems in both his ankles. He sprained his left ankle multiple times. Then he broke his right ankle recently, and the same thing with LiAngelo. LiAngelo's had tons of ankle problems. He's had ankle procedures that have needed to be done on his legs as well. So it's sad, but all of them have had these leg issues, which is it's just kind of crazy, and it's kind of like weird the way it just tend to work out like that. All 3 of their legs have just fallen apart. It's fucked up, messed up.
Will still be a long, successful NBA career. Look at none other than Steph Curry. He managed to do it, and look at where he is now. No reason LaMelo can't do the same. On the flip side, imagine if he comes back and injures his ankle yet again. People may start to grow accustomed to this trend, and for the Bulls and Hornets, how patient can they realistically be waiting on a couple of injury-prone ball boys? As for LiAngelo, well, perhaps he improves his game enough or completely dominates his competition to get noticed by NBA scouts again, whether that's overseas or in the G League. Maybe we start seeing so many viral clips again of him just like his high school days that an NBA team decides to give him a longer leash this time. If given the opportunity, he truly needs to capitalize and have a Linsanity moment. If that does indeed happen, hey, maybe we'll see LeVar Ball on the headlines again, this time yabbering, "I told you so." But remember, this is all hypothetical and extremely optimistic. And let's be honest, extremely unlikely. What do we hope? We truly hope this isn't the end. It was fun to witness the journey of these 3 young talents to go from Chino Hills brothers to potential NBA stars, each in their own regard. And hey, with the Ball brothers back in the spotlight, it's safe to assume LeVar will be too. And you have to admit, he did make the NBA a little bit more entertaining. But what do you think? Are we watching the final act of the Ball brothers saga, or just a brief intermission before they bounce back and steal the spotlight once again? Are the never-ending hurdles too much for them to overcome? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Shout out to the players discussion on this video, putting this video together. It was just a small summary of what's going on currently with Lonzo and LaMelo Ball. But I also wanted to tap into an additional video of just another take on the situation going on specifically with Lonzo. So shout out to Mike Krizemba again. We're gonna be reacting to this video as well. just expanded more on Lonzo Ball's current situation. Click that like button as well, man. Get the likes up. Appreciate it.
Has undergone 2 surgeries on his left knee.
He's expected now to miss next season.
It's so disheartening. I really can't run or jump.
He's not coming back next season.
Oh, Lord. I'm starting to see bust.
In the 2017 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Lonzo Ball from UCLA.
I'm going to put a little pressure on you right now. There's some jerseys hanging on that wall. Expect a Ball jersey hanging up there one day.
His IQ on the court is incredible.
He's more Jason Kidd.
I've always said I know he's a great talent.
6'6", unbelievable transition. He does a great job running that team.
Just leave me 1 or 2 records. Don't break all my records.
Why did a once-generational prospect fall so far? What did Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard in NBA history, once see in Lonzo Ball that compelled him to kindly ask, just leave me 1 or 2 of my records? Massive, gigantic words from a titan in basketball history, and also incredibly unforgiving words when it comes to the pressure put on a teenage Lonzo Ball as he sat as a newly named All-American and also a newly announced number 2 pick in the draft, ready to begin his career as a 19-year-old who many believed was not only about to save the Los Angeles Lakers, take the torch from Kobe and etch his name among the Lakers greats, but also change the game of basketball at the point guard position, because Lonzo Ball's package as a point guard was at the time revolutionary. 30-foot step-back threes, dunks on people's heads to send a message, full court passes as if the man had eyes in the back of his head. At one point in time, it seemed certain Lonzo Ball was going to be a superstar. Instead, Lonzo's career has been a roller coaster, one that has seen him seemingly fail with the Los Angeles Lakers as fans booed him after he bricked open 3 after 3. And in many ways, these fans would prove themselves right, as the Lakers would win a championship after using Lonzo as a trade piece. But in New Orleans, Lonzo would re-emerge as a new man himself, connecting on 3-pointers at a never-before-seen rate, and then with the Chicago Bulls, he became the ringleader for not only one of the best offenses in the NBA, but also one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. A team that after his injury has completely folded. At every point in his career, when the ball was in his hands, Lonzo Ball proved he was a winner. But now, injuries may have him retiring from the NBA at the young age of 25. How is this possible?
Crazy.
Well, shocking. In a recent Josh Hart podcast, Lonzo himself revealed that his pattern of injuries in the league may have been no accident. They may have been linked to the big baller brand shoes he was forced to wear as a young player. The same shoes LaMelo Ball, his younger brother, refused to ever put on in the NBA. But before we continue, guys, I am very excited to thank...
There go the controversy. So if those of you that don't know, Lonzo Ball came into the NBA as the only person in history to come into the NBA and not sign with a huge shoe company like Nike, Under Armour, Reebok, or Adidas, and decided to come in with his own brand, the BBB, Big Baller brand, and wore his own shoe. Now, obviously, the huge shoe companies frowned upon this because of the precedent that it's set with all new and upcoming athletes that they didn't have to necessarily sign with these big shoe companies, but they can create a brand around themselves and do it themselves. So it was a very, very risky and courageous move, bold move that he did. But whenever you're doing something new and innovative, the first, as I say, the first person over the mountain, you get hit with the arrows, right? So it wasn't all like, sunshine and rainbows. Obviously, when they first released the shoe, there were some hiccups. There was delays with people receiving their shoes. There, just some road bumps that you're gonna have whenever you start a business and it just goes viral like overnight, right? So there was some growing pains there, and obviously there's going to be some criticism and hate surrounded around it as well. And but I think they handled it pretty good, just for the just observing the situation on the outside. I thought that they handled it as best as they could, and but obviously, there's people who feel differently about it. So I'm just gonna fast forward this little promo thing that he's doing. We don't have to see it.
The future is threatened
With these ads. Give me 1 second. We'll get through this ad real quick. Oh, man. Yo, click that like button if you're appreciating the video.
We do look at Lonzo's path. He truly was in the best place in his career, but also it feels as if it's almost a bit forgotten how truly incredible Lonzo was. And at this point, I will just say it, maybe the injuries really just zapped everything here, because both the tape and the stats prove young Lonzo was both ahead of his time and a historically great 19-year-old teenage prospect. And so starting with the numbers here, in terms of pure on-court production for UCLA in the 2017 season, Lonzo Ball proved, I will stand out on a limb and say proved, that he was a generational prospect at the point guard position. The deeper we dive into Lonzo Ball's stats, the more impressive things become. Yes, he was the top guy on one of the best teams in the country. Yes, he was an All-American as a freshman. And yes, his base numbers were amazing. 14.6 points, 7.6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 1.8 steals a game. All-around stats that are almost unseen at this level at this young of an age, while also connecting on 2.2 threes a night on 41% shooting, despite any broken jump shot. And when we compare these numbers to numbers of other Hall of Fame NBA players, we find that Lonzo more than fits in with the game's best. Remember, these are as prospects. And when we pull up a list of current NBA players, we find that when we stack Lonzo's freshman season at UCLA against the elite of the elite, this is only including big conference players, of course, here, to be fair. Lonzo is right here comparing to Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, Kyrie Irving, Ja Morant, and sorry, Russ, but you struggled. And the thing is, if we dive even deeper, Lonzo's numbers fit in historically. Moving to this list of the top point guards of all time that played for major programs, Lonzo's freshman season is right there with these legends, and here is the absolute shocker. Here is why I believe that it was either confidence or the injuries that did Lonzo Ball in early in his career. Because the difference in Lonzo Ball's game is right here in front of us. His true shooting percentage. This is what separated Lonzo from even the NBA's best ever. It was something we took for granted at the time, but Lonzo was finishing at the rim at an incredibly high rate. He was not only not afraid to take the ball to the basket and jump into people and score, something he seemingly cannot do at the NBA level, but also Lonzo was dunking on people. He was catching lobs. He was putting up a true shooting percentage that was ridiculous. On 2-point shots during his freshman season, Lonzo Ball shot over 70%, finishing third in the nation as a point guard. What? And so if we take a look at the best point guards ever and we look at their true shooting percentages, we find that Lonzo Ball's ability to score efficiently was at a higher level at this point in time than every single one of these basketball giants. He also, with the game on the line, was not afraid to shoot from 30 plus feet. By the time he got to the NBA, for some reason, he started to doubt himself on wide open threes. So that may be the mental game here. But watching a young Lonzo in high school and in college, his athleticism is very, very apparent. He flies up and down the court. He was able to blow by people, and he seemingly had an extra gear that we never saw in the NBA. As a high school senior, Lonzo was a 6'6" point guard that had success on a level that was just above his peers. Then in college, it was the same. He was an All-American. He was playing in the Sweet 16. Yeah, Markelle went first, but he was playing on a Washington team that did nothing. And then in the NBA Summer League, Lonzo continued to be great. He was the NBA Summer League MVP. It seemed like the path was ready for him to become an NBA Hall of Famer. So really, the question remains, what exactly went wrong? Again, I have to say it may be something.
That's crazy, because as this was all going on, and me, me watching it from the outside looking in, I didn't fully understand like the talent level that Lonzo had, for real. I mean, to be a 6'6" point guard is ridiculous within itself, but to have that vertical leap, to be able to shoot at like the percentages he was putting up, and to be 6'6" with bungees and able to pass the way that he was able to pass, and his basketball IQ, you know, at the time, I'll say I definitely looked over a lot of that stuff. You know, that's crazy. You know, as this guy's breaking it down, I'm just starting to really understand the potential that this kid had. It's sad, for real. Shout out Lonzo Ball, man.
Mental. Lonzo, as a young player, was certainly confident in a way that it looked like he was going to be able to handle the pressure of leading an NBA franchise. It looked like he was that guy. Young Lonzo played with swagger, man. He was dropping people and staring at them before he shot threes in their face. Well, I guess not their face, at their lifeless body on the ground. In high school, he was unshakable. He chose his moments, and when he did, they were incredibly meaningful. We never saw that version of him in the league, but we did see it in college. Watch here as he leads a comeback against Oregon.
And now the Bruins with ball in transition all the way. Tyler from Pasadena, balls three, is there. Shot clock at 4, ball breaks him down, gets to the rim, puts it home. Ball steps back, long three, of course! Lonzo Ball has taken over the second half.
And Lonzo's battles against De'Aaron Fox were also peak college basketball moments that showed us Lonzo was ready for the spotlight. Do we remember this?
Ball three. Right on line. You can see that ball, can't you?
Unbelievable.
Shushing the crowd? Where did this man go? At one point in time, there was a dog in Lonzo. I'm not sure what happened to it. It may be that injuries led to a lot of his confidence going away. It should also be noted that at this point in time, De'Aaron Fox's great play against Lonzo was a talking point for why De'Aaron Fox was suddenly a potential NBA All-Star to be. That is how much people respected Lonzo Ball. They were using his game as a benchmark. And then he was the number 2 pick, and then he was the Summer League MVP, and then the Lakers believed in him so much that Magic Johnson actually asked him to leave just 1 or 2 of his records. And so what possibly went wrong? Well, there is no 100% answer here for us other than just the injuries or possibly a mental game. But to retire at the age of 25 in 2023 with the modern medicine that we have, well, it certainly makes you question things, right? And I really hope that Lonzo does rebound from this. I really hope that. I'm so hopeful that Lonzo is able to take a year off and then come back to basketball healthy. But why are we here? Why is Lonzo potentially retiring at 25? Well, it's very possible that Lonzo's body just couldn't handle the NBA. But as for what Lonzo himself is saying, on Josh Hart's podcast, Lonzo said this about his old Big Baller brand shoes. And this may be the evidence that is needed as to why Lonzo Ball's NBA career has failed so far.
No one knows the real story about them shoes, though. Them ZO2s I was playing in, they was not ready. No one knows this, but Demo had a backpack, and he had extra, like, 4 pairs of shoes in there, because I had to switch them every quarter, because they would just rip. I'm like, yo, like, I'm not playing in them shoes. Like, I don't care, bro. If you literally have my shoes from those games, like, exploded, bro. Like, no, I don't know how I didn't get caught.
Why'd you wear them? Just because you guys had, like,
They're my shoes.
And you're like,
I had to debut them. I'm like, cool, I can get a quarter in, but that's it. We got to switch them every quarter. And by the end of that quarter, like, they were beat up. And it's crazy, right when I switched my shoes, and all of a sudden, magically, I got good again.
What? Lonzo just said he switched his shoes and magically got good again. Hello? Did we just hear that Lonzo began to rack up injuries?
He put on the like mics. That's what happened. That's crazy. He said he had to switch his shoes. Oh man. But to be honest, so the CEO of Big Baller Brand, Alan Foster, he did come out and address this talking point. He said that the shoes Lonzo debuted at that time were not the actual shoes that they released. At that time, they were prototypes. So anybody who knows anything about anything in the shoe game, you know, a prototype is not the finished product, right? They're still, like, you know, dotting some I's and crossing the T's. So a prototype is not supposed to be meant, you know, to like go through all this rigorous, you know, gameplay or whatever. you're supposed to wear them, break them in, give some feedback, and then obviously there'll be a final product. I think maybe Lonzo at this point was saying that because he's kind of like estranged from his father at this point. Their relationship is a little estranged, and obviously he cut ties with Big Baller Brand at this point, so there might be some animosity there, which is why he's saying what he's saying. But the CEO of Big Baller Brand did come out and say that those were prototypes at the time, so just keep that in mind.
As the people around him were clearly way more focused on exploiting him and using his brand and likeness to sell shoes. I'll just use the old, when I was 19 or 20, I wasn't a genius. Lonzo was doing what older people were asking him to do, and also the Lakers were asking him, are your Big Baller Brand shoes injuring you? That is the report. Team officials asked Lonzo if these shoes were hurting him, and Lonzo told them no, because when we watched the way that Lonzo Ball played in the NBA, despite the fact that he was just in his young 20s, that explosive nature that once carried his game suddenly just went away completely. And with it went his ability to finish at the rim. Now remember, what always set Lonzo apart was his ability to finish at the basket. Third in the entire NCAA as a guard in two-pointers. As a rookie though, Lonzo shot under 50% at the rim as his explosiveness was gone. His true shooting percentage was also a meager 44%. But here is where this really becomes a tragic story to me. Because despite these injuries, Lonzo worked his ass off to continue to grow his game and make things work. Yes, his three-point shot was completely broken and he got so much hate for that. That is all anyone could talk about, but did that stop him? No, his three-point shot was completely broken and he fixed it. As a rookie, Lonzo shot just about 30% from three and was booed on so many three-point attempts from Lakers fans. If you're a Lakers fan, do not lie, you booed that man. The real problem though was his finishing. His two-point percentage in college was 73.2%. However, in the NBA, suddenly he shot just 42% on twos. Was this mental? Was this due to his broken shot form? Or was it his horrible shoes and the injuries that followed? I am sure that confidence played a factor here, but I'm also sure that Lonzo lost real athleticism. However, again, Lonzo never let this stop him. While his legs allowed him to play basketball, he continued to improve as a player, and by the 2022 season, Lonzo was not only shooting 61% at the rim, but also he had risen his true shooting percentage up to 57.5%. An enormous change, especially when we consider the fact that his knees were only getting worse and worse, and he was on the verge of getting to the point where he's at right now, possibly needing to retire at the age of 25. So I will end this video by just saying Lonzo Ball in the past has proven that he will work, that basketball is his passion, that he will do whatever it takes to get out there. And so I am hopeful, I am very hopeful that extra time off the court does end up saving his career, and we do end up getting Lonzo Ball back. NBA players have true respect for Lonzo Ball's game. I just hope we get to see it again. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. That way you do not miss any video like this one. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are
Oof. Oh man, sad story, man. Sad story. But hopefully Lonzo Ball is able to rebound off of this. As we all know, the NBA is just another company and platform that exploits athletes, especially minority athletes. As I said, his father is African American, his mother is white. So hopefully he's able to make it back on some high level so that he's able to still come back and compete and finish out his career. To go out at the age of 25 would be extremely sad and heartbreaking for his fans. So, wish Lonzo Ball speedy recovery. And one lesson that I do take from this story is that really appreciating the time that you do have, and because and the gifts and the blessings that you are gifted, because things can go away in the snap of a finger, right? One day you're a high profile athlete, extremely successful, everything seems like it's perfect and working out amazing, and then fast forward 6 months and things could be completely different. So definitely some perspective change from this story, and just overall the life lesson that could be taken from it is just to appreciate what you do have. Don't waste your time worrying about and being jealous of somebody else, and being envious of what you could be doing or what you're not doing. Just appreciate what you do have, the blessings that are in front of you, and just continue to work hard and believe in a higher calling. All right, so take care, guys. Hopefully you guys appreciate the video. Hit that like button. Salute, salute, salute. And we will be talking a little bit more about this as well, because the story surrounding this family is truly, truly exceptional. The journey that they took, and yeah, we will be getting into it a little bit more in the future. So take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Salute, 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 and I will see you in the next video. Peace.